All right, let's just jump right in. Forever, the idea of controlling someone's mind has been pure science fiction, right? Something out of a movie. But what if I told you the technology to make that fiction a terrifying reality is already here? We're about to break down the science, the secret history, and the very real future of the ultimate frontier, the human brain itself.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Everything you think, everything you believe, your memories, your secrets, your very sense of you, that's always been yours and yours alone. It's the one place no one else could get into, the last truly private space on Earth.
And that's the big question, isn't it? Because those walls that have always protected that final frontier, well, they're starting to look less like a fortress and more like code that someone can crack.
So, to really get a handle on where all this is going, you first have to understand where it all started. And this story doesn't begin in some shiny tech lab in Silicon Valley. No, it starts in the shadows of the Cold War. Everybody meet Project MKUltra. Kicked off back in 1953, this was the CIA's top secret and totally illegal program to figure out how to master mind control. For 2 whole decades, they ran all sorts of clandestine experiments, all because they were terrified their enemies were already figuring out how to brainwash people.
And look, this isn't some wild conspiracy theory, okay? This is from their own declassified documents. The goal was written down in black and white. The physical control of enemy minds. They were literally looking for a switch to turn a person into a programmable puppet.
And the way they went about it, it was brutal, it was clumsy. This was truly the age of brute force. They were using a crazy cocktail of stuff. LSD, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, even this thing called psychic driving, where they'd force people to listen to the same audio message looped for hours, even days on end. The whole point was to just shatter someone's personality so they could try to rebuild it.
But that was then. The brute force era? That's over. Today, we are in a totally new age. This is the dawn of precision. The sledgehammer has been replaced by a surgical scalpel.
The real game changer here is something called a brain-computer interface, or BCI. See, this isn't about causing blunt trauma anymore. This is a direct, digital line into your neurons. It's a pathway that lets technology not just read the brain's electrical signals, but maybe even write new information directly into them.
Just look at this contrast. It shows you the insane leap we've taken. On one side, you've got a heavily redacted document from a secret government program, and on the other, a slick, consumer-friendly brand like Neuralink. The whole quest to get inside the human brain has moved out of the spy agency's basement and into the bright spotlight of Silicon Valley.
So today's arsenal is, wow, it's incredibly sophisticated. First up, you've got biochemical agents. Think hormones like oxytocin, which some people have actually called liquid trust because it can make you more suggestible. Then you have directed energy, using things like microwaves to potentially make someone hear or see things that aren't there, creating what some have called a voice of God weapon. And finally, the scariest one to me, software. The ability to hack a neural implant with what's basically a computer virus for your brain.
Okay, so here's the crucial shift you need to understand. This is no longer about trying to control one person in an interrogation room. The ambition, the scale of this has exploded, from individuals to entire societies.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. When a world leader like Vladimir Putin says these technologies are comparable to nuclear weapons, you know the stakes are unbelievably high. But the part that gives me chills is what he says next. They're more acceptable. That means they're more likely to actually be used.
This has given rise to a whole new military theory, neocortical warfare. The idea is simple and terrifying. Forget about tanks and bombs. The real target is the enemy's mind. The goal is to control what they see, what they believe, and what they want to do, to make them give up without ever firing a shot by collapsing the enemy internally. And this whole idea can scale all the way up to something called the global brain hypothesis. So, there are 2 paths here. The utopian dream? It's this connected planetary mind that works together to solve climate change and disease. Sounds pretty great. But then there's the dystopian nightmare, a super intelligent hive mind controlled by a single government or corporation where individuality is just gone, wiped out for the sake of control. Same tech, 2 very different futures.
Which brings us to the real price of all of this, the ultimate cost. What actually happens to you, the individual, when your mind just isn't your own anymore?
You know, ethicists talk about this concept called mental integrity.
It's basically your right to be in charge of your own thoughts, your own feelings. It's the foundation of free will, of being you. And any kind of direct brain manipulation, whether it's a drug or a microwave or a hacker, is a fundamental threat to that right.
And that's the true horror of it. It's not about being forced to do something you hate. No, it's about having your wants and your desires changed without you even knowing. The moment your actions stop coming from your own intentions, you stop being a free individual. You just become a piece of an external system.
And here's the kicker. Unlike the programs of the past, what's being built today, well, it might be permanent. We are walking into an undeletable future.
A neuroscientist named James Giordano summed it up perfectly. The brain is the next battle space. That one sentence, it captures this entire massive shift. The next big war won't be fought over land or in cyberspace. It's going to be fought over the 3 pounds of gray matter sitting between your ears.
And that's the final, chilling thought to leave you with. Think about it. You can rebuild a bombed-out city. You can wipe a computer's hard drive. But how do you delete an influence that's been written directly into your brain? How do you reboot a human mind that's been hacked? The scary answer is, you might not be able to.
For all of human history, your mind was just a given. It was your private, sovereign space. But now, it's territory. Territory that can be invaded, mapped, and controlled. It really is the final frontier. And the question for all of us is no longer if it's going to be explored, but how in the world are we going to defend it?